But you can always go back and change the title.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah, so I believe we are live. It usually goes on before it actually says you're live, so we're probably live right now. So hey, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hola, ¿cómo está? So yes, we are live. What I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to wait for a couple people to jump on here. Welcome everybody who is jumping on. If you've been waiting for the past 5 minutes, we are here. And we are with Jennifer Elston, and I know many of you are super excited to hear her story. Some of you are probably like, who is Jennifer Elston and why am I watching you?
Most people.
Most people.
There's no reason you should know who I am.
No. And so what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go and I'm going to share this. There we go. Copy, go to the group. Boom. Fantastic. All right, and there we are. So happy Monday, everybody. My name is Tim Peterson, for those of you that do not know me. And if you're watching this on live, go ahead and type live in the comments. If you're catching this on replay, type in replay. And if you have any questions at all, go ahead and put those in the comments. We're not going to answer them now, but we will go back and answer them because we want to make sure to respect your time and share some information and just have a candid conversation with each other very quickly. So welcome everybody. There's a lot of people out there, and before I introduce you, Jennifer, I'm going to kind of preface what we're doing here. So there's a lot of folks out there, in fact, over 60 million people who want or need to look at another way of making some income. And the numbers are higher than that actually, but we'll just say 60 million, which is unprecedented. And people are looking at their friends, watching their friends on Facebook. A lot of their friends are in our company, Neora, and they're saying, you know, should I do this, something like that? Can I do something like that? And then they start to go through the mental Rolodex of all the excuses of why they shouldn't, and it really comes down to fear. So I decided to, because they see a lot of before and after photos, and they're like, man, if that is real. Which it is, but they're thinking to themselves, if that is real, could I do this? But I'm not a salesperson. And then they shut down. Or, man, could I do this? But I don't have any time. And they shut down. So a lot of folks are watching us, and they're watching us in silence, and they're too scared to reach out. And so what I decided to do is start doing these interviews with my friends in the company and bring us to them into their living rooms on a Facebook Live, because as they're scrolling through, they're like, what's this? And that's what this is. So I'm just going to interview my friend Jennifer, and you're going to hear a story of just a regular person who has all the same doubts, all the same fears, all the same trepidation, and like, I don't want to do this, all the preconceived notions of what I think this is. And Jennifer Givens and I did a lot of air quotes last time, but
I'm not really an air quote person, but I do talk with my hands.
Yeah. And so, we're just going to share your story with questions that I ask in this interview type process, but it's just going to be a conversation. So I would like you to introduce yourself, share with people your background and who you were and what your life looked like prior to the person sharing this information with you. And then you can just kind of naturally go into the story of, and this is how I was introduced. This was how I felt about it. This was my fears. This is why I was thinking no. And then ultimately, this is why I said yes. So if you could just go through that process, I know you shared it before, but it's an incredible story. So everybody, this is Jennifer Elston, one of my very good friends. And we spent the 4th of July with her and her family down in Nashville, Natalie and I. We love them. And so I'm excited for you to hear her story.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks for having me on here. And guys, we're actually real friends. So sometimes we introduce people as our friends, and we really aren't friends with that person. Really, we're just acquaintances, but we're actually legitimately friends.
Natalie's laughing.
I'm glad he mentioned that we spent the 4th of July quarantining together, quarantine 4th of July. But my name is Jennifer Elston, and I am down in Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. I was an attorney. I was a business and real estate attorney. I did some municipal work for the city where we lived in Indiana, I grew up in Indiana, and that's where I practiced law. moved to Tennessee 4.5 years ago, but I was busy. I was a partner in a law firm. I had, at the time I started my business, right before, I had a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 2-month-old, and I was pregnant with a fourth child. So I actually have Irish twins. Those last 2 are Irish twins, and we were blessed to adopt our first 3 children, as you know. So our youngest was a surprise. The exact time that I started my business, actually, I was very overwhelmed with young children. I had 3 and a baby on the way. I actually, right before I found out that I was pregnant, or right at the time that I found out I was pregnant, my husband, Jody, who you know, Tim, he was in pharmaceuticals, and he found out that he had a genetic defect in his back that appeared as an adult. And so, and I don't even know if you know this, but when I started my business, he was supposed to have a 45-minute surgery that turned into a 5-hour surgery, and 3 weeks on his back with a spinal drain. We didn't know if he was going to be okay, if he was going to recover. He had to have quite an extensive surgery. And so I was at just a point of overwhelm. And while I was very, very blessed with what I had and what I was doing, I wasn't excited to practice law. It wasn't passion for me by any means. I wasn't excited to go to work every day. And so it became almost a depression point in my life, because I had all this going on, and I didn't know. You don't know when you've gone to school so long for something. You feel like you're letting everybody down when you're unhappy with it. You've got partners, you've got a client base, you've got people that you work with, and you love those people, but you know this isn't for you, but you feel like you're trapped, right? What are you going to do? You went to law school, and you have all this debt and all of, this life and these children you are responsible for, that you're blessed to be able to parent. And it was this just almost a constant panic and stress, where I was waking up in the middle of the night. I was praying for something to change, something to come along. How could I make it all work? I had no idea I was praying for this. I wasn't specifically praying for this. I can remember a couple of weeks before I saw my sister-in-law, who introduced me to this, Jennifer Givens, who you mentioned, post the very first thing about Neora. I was laying in bed at night, had gotten the kids to sleep, and I was sitting there with Jody, and I said, I'm going to be dead by the time I'm 40. And he was like, what? And I said, I'm going to be dead by the time I'm 40 because I am so stressed. There's no way that I can continue to do this, that I can carry this weight. And he said, well, you got to do something else. You just do it. And I'm like, it's not that easy. We're adults. Adulting is so hard, you guys. What else are you going to do? And people would say, well, you can do everything. You went to law school. No, I could be a lawyer. That's what that's for. So I didn't feel like I had a lot of options. And then I saw, like many other people, my sister-in-law posted a before and after on Facebook. And I asked her a lot of questions, and I was a skeptic and I was a cynic, because that's who I was. I was trained to be one. And I didn't think that you could possibly put cream on your face and that happened. And at that time that she joined the business, there was only night cream. And then she started posting how she was paying for her private school tuition for my nephew. And it was just like, what is this? And I ended up ordering the product and returning it without using it. I hid it in a closet, and then I returned it the first time because I had buyer's remorse. Yeah. I didn't think it was gonna work. And then I saw she posted a 46-day result picture, and I made up some reason I had to order it again and give it another shot. So I did, and long story short, I ended up taking that leap of faith, not with any thought that it was an answer to my prayer, not with any thought that it was going to be a business really for me. I wanted to earn free skincare because I had 27 million children and a lot of debt, and a lot of daycare and school for my oldest. And I wanted free skincare. And I thought, if I can make my investment back and then make $50 a month, if I can even make $50 a month, that means that, you know, I've covered my own self-care with the skincare, but I can pay for my oldest to do soccer or whatever, because, you know, he was just starting out in activities. I never thought that it would become what it did become, and that it would change me in the ways that it has changed me.
I think you didn't say this part, but it's one of my favorite parts because it's so relatable. When you looked and saw Jennifer Givens posting stuff on her Facebook, what did you think happened?
I thought her Facebook got hacked. I sent her a message. I'm like, did your Facebook get hacked? Somebody's posting pictures, like before and afters of some face cream on your wall. And she said, no, I'm a brand partner for this company. And I was like, what? Because she, you know, she was a nurse. She had just had a baby or was pregnant. I'm not sure that time frame. I think she had just had Carson. And she was teaching. She was taking classes to advance her degree. And I thought, what is she doing? And she's like, you know, it's so amazing. I just wanted to earn it for free. Well, I just kept seeing it, and I just kept seeing it. And it was those multiple exposures for someone like me who's cynical, and then seeing her result, and it looked like somebody had magic eraser her face. That's what it looked like. That's what I told her. I was like, it looks like you got a magic eraser to the face. Is this real? And is my face gonna fall off? I mean, I asked all the questions to the point where she was like, I don't really care if you sign up or not. You know, I love the skincare. It's great stuff. I'm making money. I'm earning free skincare. You do you, but it is real. And then I was like, fine. And really, my husband was the one who was like, why are you even thinking about it? Just do it, because I had already liked it. Remember, I had returned it and reordered it, used it, and saw.
That's even a fantastic story.
I actually put it on my face the next time. And then I was looking in the mirror in the bathroom, like admiring my face, you know, like you do when you've had a result from something and you're like, oh, I'm thinner and whatever. And so I was looking because I had bad skin. I was seasoned from practicing law, seasoned, but also breaking out from stress. So he walks behind me and he said, I don't know what that stuff is that Jenny gave you, but you look like 5 years younger. And it was, I mean, I can remember what we were wearing, because the only thing he ever really saw or noticed was like, don't you have a black shirt that's just like that black shirt you just bought? So Natalie, can you relate in the background there? Don't you have a black shirt? So for him to say that was a really big deal.
Yeah.
And then for him to say, you know what, worst case, you're going to get skincare that you love at a discount, but I really think you'll get it for free. And then I can remember when I hit national marketing director, he started laughing. We were driving to vacation, actually, because, you know, you can do anything from your phone. And we were driving to Isle of Palms. Has anybody ever been there outside?
Yeah, Charleston.
It's incredible. And he started laughing. I said, what are you laughing at? And he goes, I totally thought you would make like $50 a month and quit after 6.
That's so fantastic.
Oh, real life, right? Like that's what most people think.
Yeah.
And we're wrong.
Now,
it's so much more than that.
I think this is the question to somebody sitting at home and they're thinking, you make it sound so simple. You make it sound so easy. Getting your product for free is the easy part. Once you start building a team, that's when you start to have to develop skills and be a little bit more committed. But the beautiful part for me about Neora is the systems they have in place and the leadership. Could you touch on that a little bit? Because I know that's something that I know you have trained on, is that, you know, you've been on boards of companies. You've been, you know, what is it? The under 40, look out for, you know, the under 40s coming up in Evansville, Indiana, and extremely, you know, successful at what you've done, and you've seen leadership. How can you compare the leadership of this company to take somebody that's never done anything like this before? And Jennifer Givens and I chatted about this for a bit, is that you've never done anything like this before. She's never done anything like this before. most of the people that are having a lot of success here have never done anything like this before. So could you touch on how that is?
Yeah, so one, and I'm going to touch on a couple other things that you sparked in me when you were talking, but first of all, people who've never done anything like this before are the very best at it, because they don't have self-imposed expectations of, they don't have a preconceived opinion because they failed somewhere else that they're going to fail here. They don't have any idea how fast you should or could move, you know. So it's kind of that earn as you learn. And I remember somebody saying ignorance on fire to me once, and I got so offended. But now I understand it. You because you don't have those preconceived notions of how it should be, you don't know any differently, and you're just on fire, and you're not overthinking it. You're not thinking, oh, well, this month is a great month, but next month's probably going to be terrible. Like, you're just not thinking those things. You're just focused on doing the activities and eventually getting to the result that you want. Something I also have to say, and this is not even what you asked, but most people have the fear or the feeling like, I can't do this, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not on, because they have that fear of judgment and that fear of failure that we all have, especially when we're not good at something already. It's like my daughter, who can't stand to not be perfect at something right away. She just wants to quit. She doesn't want to do it anymore.
By the way, is an incredible
Right.
dancer.
So yeah, thank you. And you're only going to get better. You're only going to get out of that comfort zone and out of that box after you leap over that fear. You have to just toss it out the window, and you have to toss out those expectations, and you have to just focus more on what you want to do, what you want to achieve, than the reasons that it's not going to work.
And I think that goes to what I did ask, and that is the leadership, like the culture that we have here, because what most people are used to is the only way I can get ahead and up that ladder is to pull, kick, scratch, punch, bite. And the only way I can get promoted, if I've gone far enough, is if someone dies or quits or gets fired. And in Neora, it is we come in with all of that stuff. And then we find this culture that is like, it's like we all drink the Kool-Aid, but it's not a weird Kool-Aid. It's
right.
This
it's
is
a bunch of normal people that are just shocked that everyone is not out to get them or stab them in the back or compete or use them as their step ladder to get above them, because that's just not how it's set up. It's not how it works. And also, we have an abundance mentality. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to say it. So there's enough for me, there's enough for you, there's enough for everyone to go around. It's hard to get people who start the business to have that mentality, because that's not what's been ingrained. What's been ingrained is exactly what you said, that kicking and getting my bigger piece of the pie than your piece of the pie. If you can get somebody over that mentality, if you can get over that mentality yourself, the doors fling wide open for you. So when I started, I didn't understand the personal development. And you know this about me. I used to mock personal development, but my husband has always been into it, and he's always read books. He read The Slight Edge multiple times before we heard of this company or Jeff Olson or otherwise. And I used to say, hey, can I read your book to fall asleep? And I would not even be able to get through a page of one of his personal development books. Or you would listen to it and you'd be like, oh, give me a break. You know, like that kind of, that's who I was. Come on. And it took seeing the difference in the culture. It took adopting that abundance mentality and kicking the fears down, but also seeing them and feeling it. Because you can see things from the outside, but you feel it when you're in it, and you understand the authenticity. And I think Jeff is a huge part of that. He'll be a mentor for life for me and what he's brought to this company. And that's what we share with each other, right? So if you can get past your own fears, your fear of judgment, but your own mind game on, this doesn't even make sense. This can't be real. Like, who do I have to stab in the back to get where I'm going? Or, what, okay, do I have to work like 6 hours a day? No, I can't tell you something. I can't tell you to do something that would take 6 hours a day. What the heck are you doing? So it really is more simple than people want to make it, because we're trained to overthink and we're trained to look for the ulterior motive. And so I try to be as authentic and transparent. I don't have an ulterior motive. My motive is obviously to have a stable income, as much as I can possibly generate for my family, and to help other people do the same for their families and themselves. And if it were only about me, then I would still be practicing law or doing something like that. But what drives me to continue is that it's not just about me. It's about you. And it's about Courtney, and it's about Heather, and it's about, everybody who has taken that leap. And I think it's just really hard for humans to even believe that could be true, that people can feel that way.
That's exactly right. I'm glad you touched on all of that, because it is such a big deal in people's, decision-making reference to whether even reach out to someone like me or you. And that's why we're doing this. Now, in reference to your favorite part in Neora, I know we just talked about a little bit of the culture and leadership, but is there a favorite part that you're like, this is my favorite part? Is it the products, the culture, the leadership, the giving back? Is it all of it, or what is it that stands out to you maybe now, and has it changed?
Do I have to pick one?
You don't. You can pick as many as you want.
Well, first of all, I mean, the products, obviously. I can't even lump the products in with those other options, because I feel like they're their own animal, because even if I wasn't a brand partner, I would be a customer. And Jennifer Givens and others know, if another product comes up that people are like, how does it compare to Neora? I'll buy it and use it. I buy it. I mean, I've had so many products, and I'll always come back, because the results are insane. The simplicity, the fact that everything is so comprehensive and covers multiple things. They're clean. It's all of it. It's the big picture on the product. So that's its own animal. But otherwise, what I never, when I came into this, anticipated, because like I said, I wasn't trying to grow a global business. That happened. Was it easy? No. I don't want people to be like, oh, she thinks it just was so easy.
Right.
It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Is how much I love pouring into other people, and how much I love seeing other people win. I've always been a giver. I've always been very empathetic. I've always been very compassionate, but I never thought that I had the ability to help somebody to do something for themselves or change. And so that is very surprising to me, how that's what I thrive on, and how I could be in the worst mood ever, and then I can get on a call with somebody who needs me to help them with how to hit a goal or change their mindset or something, and that changes me as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Before I train, or even before I got on this live, I always thank God, and I always pray that He pour into me so that I can pour into these people. That's what they need.
Help me to help you. That's exactly right. That's a beautiful segue into the last question. And if you could touch on one of my favorite things that you've said, that you did it at a training. And by the way, Jennifer has helped myself and Natalie in our business and so much. And we are not financially connected.
Yes.
It's another beautiful part about this company, is that there is no, this is my team and that's yours, and this is how we do it. We have something called the Neora Rhythm, where everybody helps everybody, the abundance mentality that you talked about. But if you could just close with two things. How has Neora changed your life? If you could describe it, I know it's kind of hard, but how has it changed your life from where you were to where you are? And then if you could kind of touch on one of my favorite things that you do. What else are you going to do? I love it when you talk about that.
Okay.
I know it's a little harsh.
No. Okay. What I'm worried about is I'm gonna start crying.
That's
So
okay.
bear with
I
me.
mean, that's
I'm
that's
not doing that.
authentic. It's real. It's not, and these aren't, when people get emotional, telling their story. Look, the most impactful thing and the most emotional thing for me to do is to share my story in another fellowship that I'm a part of, because remembering what it felt like to be where I used to be and knowing where I am now is it's in my marrow. It's so intense. And when I talk about it, I get emotional. And so this company I know has done that for many, many people, and you're one of them. So, just share your story. And I think that's what moves people to make that move over all that stuff we just talked about, is to say, I relate. I want to do what she's doing.
So first of all, and I told you a little bit about where I was in my life, but I want people to recognize that as I tell you how I've changed as a person, how it's changed my life, I'm an introvert. I am like I said, I'm a skeptic. I'm much less cynical, but I still am skeptical. So I'm a research fanatic. I instantly don't trust and doubt things like that, because that's just who I am to the core, and that's what I was trained to do. I would rather stay home and watch Hallmark movies in my pajamas than go out. I'm never going clubbing with you. I'm not somebody who talks to everybody in the stores, who, I don't even order pizza. If you want to eat, you're gonna have to order it. Though Uber Eats has changed my whole life, because I can do it from my phone and they come and bring it to my door, and I don't even have to talk to anybody in the meantime, because I'm an introvert. I love people and I love helping people, but I'm not going to be the one high-fiving people at the bar or out, talking to people all the time. But it has changed me so significantly in more fundamental ways than even changing that. It got rid of the cynicism for sure. And by that, I mean, I was cynical about happiness. I was jealous of other people. Certainly, if you were incredibly happy, I was cynical about why that was, and I assumed you were fake. And I spent a lot of time, it's very hard to admit this, but I think it's important because so many people do this. You're gossiping about people, you're judging people, you're sitting around talking about people when they leave the room because you're jealous of them. And I had a big social circle. I sat on boards. I was, like I said, I was a partner in a firm. I was an attorney, but as a human, I was unhappy. And I was constantly looking to bring other people down to my level of unhappiness, except I didn't know that. Mm. When you hit a certain level in your personal development, you recognize who you were before, and that and that's why it's easy for us to say, who you surround yourself with is so important. And, the people who are bringing you down or crushing your dreams or laughing at you or mocking what you're doing don't want you to get out of your box and be more or do more than they are or are willing to do. And to some people, they think, well, how can you say that? Because I was that person and I know. Even though maybe I didn't know it in that moment that that's what it was. Does that make sense? So, and I think a lot of us run into that, and I'm just not that person anymore. I truly want to see you win. I want to see you win. And I think there's a great quote. I don't even know if it's Tupac or whatever, but even if you cross me, I don't want to keep your family from eating. I just don't want you sitting at my table. Like, you still want everybody to win, even though I may not want it to be with me.
I think you just got a bunch of street cred, by the way, on that one.
Yeah, I should. I do like gangster rap, I admit that. Right. But I was somebody who was working a lot. I wasn't happy. I was jealous of what other people had. I felt desperate to change something, but I didn't know how. I saw my children sometimes an hour and a half a day. put my husband in daycare. We're raising my kids. I can remember running right when I started my business, and I took Isla, my daughter, to daycare, and I walked her up, and as soon as they see the building, those of you who can relate to this, they start to cry. They don't want to go in. They don't want to be left there. And it had happened every single day for 2 years. And I whispered into her ear and I said, Mommy found something, and she's going to do something with it, and you're never going to have to come here again. And it was in that moment, I hadn't even decided prior to that moment that this could be something real, but it was in that moment that I was never going to turn back on that, because I was not going to have to take her to daycare again. I was going to make sure that that happened. And that was always my driving force. Every time somebody said no, every time somebody, stopped ordering, every time somebody quit the business, or, whatever it was, said something to me about they couldn't believe I was doing this. Why would I do that when I was practicing law? What if it doesn't work? Whatever. Because I don't want to watch my child cry every day when I drop her off. I can't do it anymore. So if I could, even at that point, I was thinking if I could just cut it down to 2 days a week, if I could just cut back my schedule. But that is always my fuel, and it continues to be my fuel, because what this has given us is options. And it has never been more clear since COVID, even though I didn't have to take her back to daycare anymore. I made it happen. 5 months later, she never went back again. My youngest didn't have to go. They have grown up with me and Jody, because he was able to leave pharmaceuticals. And it is always my driving force that we're never going to get back to that place, period. So if your business goes up and down, I'm always making sure that if it goes down, I'm doing whatever it takes to get it back up for those kids. And it's given us options where I'm a type 1 diabetic, I'm high risk. I didn't have to send them to school. I can work from home. I'm homeschooling them this year. Send chocolate, vodka, presents, whatever you want. I'm homeschooling 4 kids, ages 6 to 12. But it's been the best year of our lives. And I watched so many other people so stressed and unhappy. And yes, I've been scared. And yes, I have so much empathy and compassion for other people. But for our family unit, it's been the best year of our lives.
And you know what? I think that's where we'll close, is that so many people think, or I have had, or may have the impression that when you get in these businesses, all the people at the top are making all the money and everyone down here is doing all the work. And what I had touched on earlier is that the majority of the people in Neora have never done anything like this before, and are in the philosophy of what you just shared. I will never put my family, will never go backward. And the only way to stay where you're at and keep going is to reach backward and help all the people that are coming in with all those fears, all those doubts, all those things that they're scared of, that you felt the same way. And you're going to ask them, what are your dreams? What are your fears? Let's do this together, because I was once where you were, and I'm never going to be there again. And the only way I can stay where I'm at is to help you get to where I am. And that's servant leadership. And that's what Neora is all about. And so I want to thank you, Jennifer, because you're one of those people. And I think everyone watching can agree with that. There's no, hype here on you being something other than you're not. And that is authentic. So thanks everybody for watching this awesome interview.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love talking to you all the time.
Sorry, I cried again.
Yeah, if you have any questions at all, put them in the comments. Jennifer and I will go back. Feel free to share this with friends. Reach out to us. Tell us where you're watching in from. And be kind, loving, and tolerant to everyone you know and everyone you meet. You guys have an awesome night, and we'll see you in the next interview. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks for having me.